Welcome back to another Coach Blakers podcast. I think number 9. I mean, we're doing it big. I want to make more of these, but I haven't been. I'm trolling myself. But today, I wanted to talk about coaching Pokemon Unite. Whoa, my shirt. Did y'all just see that? Y'all done see the insides of me. Of course, I always start with a quote. So this quote is going to be kind of morbid, but it's not. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. And I thought it was funny because Pokemon Unite comes out. I play it. I actually really enjoy it. I get to a high rank on it. It's a really, really fun game in my opinion. But does that mean I'm leaving League of Legends behind? The answer to that will be at the end of the podcast. But right now, let's talk about what Pokemon Unite even is. So, Pokemon Unite is a random plane flying right over my head. Pokemon Unite is pretty much a MOBA. It's pretty much the same as League of Legends in a way, except it's a lot quicker and it's more simple, if that makes sense. Instead of 3 lanes, there's 2, and then there's like jungle. So there's top, jungle, bottom, and there's no mid. The jungle is mid. You don't need to buy items. You don't need to buy wards. There's no mana. And this is only the first season. But it's just kind of like a dumbed down League of Legends. But there's still a lot of complicated aspects to the game. And I think one of the things that draw people into it more, or at least for me, is the fact that it's so quick. The fact that it's quick is insane. Like, you get in there, it's a 10-minute game, yeah, doesn't matter. You can even surrender before that if you want. Now, another thing that I think is pretty cool is that there's no chat. I mean, there's ping system, which I'm used to ping, so like that's nothing for me. But there's really no chat. You can't type. And it's a Nintendo game, so I would assume that's intentional. There is voice chat, so you can choose to have it on if you want. But I don't. I just play without it because I don't like voice chat, even if it was in League. Excuse me. Even if it was in League, I wouldn't use voice chat. I don't want to talk to people. I want to focus on the game, you know? So that's pretty cool. But I think, and I was actually going to make this podcast about Riot's behavioral change. I know that they had a chat restriction behavioral change, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I thought this was a little bit more important than that at the time that I decided to make this video. I'll talk about that next video, though. So if you want to talk about the behavioral system changes that they're doing and my thoughts on Season 12 going in, check out the next podcast. But I think the fact that there's no chat is just really, really good because there's no reason to like flame. Like, you can't really flame anybody. And Nintendo does not play. Like, Nintendo, they don't want you to mess up like any integrity. If they know you're doing something bad, oh, you're out. They have this point system and you have 100 points. Every account has 100 points. You can only gain 5 per day, but you can lose a lot too, depending on your offense. So you have 100 points. If you get to 80 points, you can't play ranked until you get above 80. Well, I mean, if you get below 80, you can't play until you get to 80. If you get 60 or below, you are actually like losing rewards, and you don't get any rewards. You don't get battle passes, nothing. If you go, I think below 40, you just can't even play the game, pretty much. I think you got to play bots or some random thing. But that just goes to show they don't play. Like, imagine Riot doing that to them. And Pokemon Unite doesn't even have as many players as Riot does. And the integrity to the game is way better. Imagine if Riot's like, hey, you want to BM? You want to do all this? Okay. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to not be able to play after you reach a certain threshold. You're not going to be able to play until you get the points back by being nice. Like, that would be hot. And on top of that, if you want to make a Smurf, quote unquote, for Nintendo, you actually have to make a Nintendo account, link the account with the game. A lot harder than actually just, hey, I'm making an account for Riot. I'll just make a Smurf like that. And I highly doubt you're not going to be able to buy Smurfs. Like, you are not going to be able to buy Smurfs with a Nintendo account unless you're buying Nintendo accounts. And if they find that out, you're screwed. Like I said, Nintendo does not play when it comes to their integrity. Nintendo's like Disney, right? Well, there's no content put out unless it's quality content. And if anybody is in the way of that, they're going to get mowed over. So that's the cool part about it, is there's a lot of integrity to it. Yeah, there's the same problems that League kind of has, in a sense of like everybody wants to play whatever they want to play, and there's like bad comps sometimes. There's really no dodge feature. Like you can't just straight up dodge. You're just forced to play that game out. But it's not that bad because all the characters, like in League of Legends, if you're a support, you're probably not taking towers by yourself unless you're Senna. You know what I mean? Or Pyke. But you really can't wave clear with Pyke. With this game, I want to say it's kind of along the lines of like Dota maybe, where you would take the quote-unquote minions from them to gain for yourself. They're not really minions because they don't walk. Think of them like jungle camps. It's like jungle camps just all around everywhere. In lanes, in jungle, like literally there's spawn timers for everything. No minions are like essentially just going like this and walking. And I thought that was weird. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, this is kind of hot. So things do spawn around the map. Different timers spawn. They have at the top, they have, you could call it Rift Herald basically. What it will do. Well, let me just actually explain the concept of the actual game. So the concept of the game is to kill a Pokemon, basically the jungle timer camps, and then, or just like straight up kill the enemy Pokemon. And then you'll get Pokeballs. And with that, you use the Pokeballs to then score inside of the goal. There are 5 zones to score in. Just like League of Legends, you have first tower, second tower, third tower. This one basically has first towers, second towers, and then Nexus. So that's kind of how it works. And your dunking, it's really cool, honestly. But you're like getting your Pokeballs, and then you're just dunking them inside the hoop. And each zone has different like points. So basically the first zone needs 80 points. I think the second zone was what? I think the second zone is like 82 or 85 or 90. I don't remember. And then the third zone, I mean, it's infinite because like you could just score as many points as possible. So you can essentially think of the zones of scoring the points as kind of like the HP. When it gets to 80 HP, it's kind of dead. And then the zone gets deleted, and then you can move on to the next one. So that's what it's kind of like in the terms of towers. Now, they have a really cool thing of, there's like a really cool thing to prevent tower dives. You can still do it. You can still straight up like dive it. But when you're underneath the zone, or when you're on top of the zone, you get this shield, and it also helps regenerate your HP. But also, behind the tower, there's like this lane. The lane from the connecting to the next zone is going to perma slow you. And it's a heavy slow, like it's real. So like if you're trying to dive and you're trying to run away, like you just can't straight up dive unless that person makes a mistake. So it really encourages you to run away rather than just like sit under there and get exploded. That's really cool. And then like I said, the top is like the Rift Herald, like the top spawns like a Rift Herald type of thing. And when you kill it, it will start walking towards the zone. And when it scores, it will pop, depending on the HP, the max is 20. And then when you get it lower and lower, I think the minimum is 8. But when you score it, you actually end up when it lands, when it hits the zone, it actually scores those 20 for you, and then it allows for insta scores. Because when you're scoring, you kind of have to hold it for a second. The more Pokeballs you have, the longer it takes for you to slam it. But with that, it's insta. Like if you have 50 balls in your hand, it's an insta slam. So that's essentially Rift Herald, because it takes towers like crazy, or it takes zones like crazy, but it only stops at that one zone. It doesn't keep pushing. So like if I get to that zone and I dunk it and it goes away, like so is the Rift Herald basically. It can only affect one zone. And then the bottom, it's not really Rift Herald. We'll just call it the Dragon. The Dragon, the bottom one, it's called Dreadnought, and it gives you a mountain dragon shield basically. So it gives you a shield when you kill it. When there's 2 minutes left, a dragon, you can call it Elder, spawns, and when you kill it, it stuns everyone on the map. It's like an AoE lightning stun like Mario Kart. It's like half a second. And then every single zone is open, and you can insta-score on all of them. So I actually think, I noticed sometimes you can't. I think if the first if the first tower zones are not broken down, you have to break those 2 first, and then the second zones plus the Nexus you can just score in all of that. I think the first ones have to be down first, but that just has for like insta scores for 30 seconds. And it's funny because people know like if they get that, it's very rare that you'll be able to win. You kind of just forfeit at that point. So it's really funny, but it's really nice moments when you do clutch it and you win by like 1 point. It's insane. And once again, just kind of having that short game makes it feel really, really good. And that means that you're not wasting so much time to then just straight up like be dragged through a full game of the game you just know you're not going to win. The comeback mechanic is so huge that even if you're losing throughout the entire game, that one split second, you lost. You don't even have to legit... You don't have to win team fight after team fight after team fight after team fight. It's literally, we get that thing, and if we can put that score in, we win. There's ways to protect it so that they can't score it, but that's kind of the gist of that. So, the fact that it's easy to just turn the game. I think a lot of players just don't want to surrender. There are some times, there's like one character named Gengar. That character is busted. That's like the cast end of this game. It's insane. But what I wanted to really say was that in League of Legends, when you're playing Yuumi, basically, I don't know why I just said Yuumi. I'm just going to say Yuumi. You're not getting towers. You're not clearing waves. You can't really win the game by yourself if you don't have someone else with you. The different roles in Pokemon Unite, you can win the game no matter what role you are, no matter what character you are. It's pretty cool how much impact you have, no matter the role, no matter the class, no matter the character. And I think that's something that makes the game great, because you don't have to rely hardcore on your team, because you can pull some cool stuff off by yourself. And at the end of the day, it's still a team game, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say that it ain't. But the fact that, I got 50 balls and they don't know it and I'm sneaking and then I score and then we win by like 10 points because I got that score. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you're not just straight up losing. And no point in that game do you feel like you straight up lost unless you were already losing. And then they get that Elder Dragon. At that point, the game's over. You know what I mean? Like, at that, if you're already losing and that was your last shot to come back and you lost that, the game's over, you forfeit. But it doesn't happen too much. Usually, one team can turn it, or it's very, very close almost every game. And I do like that. I like that a lot. But like I said, it still has that same struggle of like comps might be kind of bad. It has an indicator telling you like, hey, you need a defender, or hey, you need a all-round character. Like, it tries to help you form the comp, whereas in League, it doesn't tell you anything. It's like, good luck. And it's like unwritten rules, basically, of what your comp should be. This game strictly like says, hey, you're missing this. You might want to get this. Hey, you're missing this. So when people intentionally choose not to pick the character that fills that gap, then like, oh, crap, here we go. That was a long spiel of that, wasn't that? But yeah, so back to what I was saying about kind of just coaching that game. I am coaching that game. Of course, my site's updated. So if you go to my site, CoachBlaker.com, you'll see that I'm coaching Pokemon Unite, and then I'm also coaching League of Legends. Both games are very, very fun to play. Like I said, the community really drags down League of Legends, and I think it's just getting to the point where not many people care about getting better. And hopefully that changes in Season 12 and Riot fixes it. But I always thought, like, when COVID happened, a lot of players that didn't really play League started to play League again. And what would happen is those players wouldn't care, because it's like, I quit this game a long time ago. I'm just getting back into it. There's nothing else to do. And so that kind of spread, and that was really infectious. There was this seminar that Riot posted, and it's very, very old, but they pretty much explained how toxic behavior ruins games. And it's pretty cool. So let's just say there's one toxic player on my team. This dude's toxic, and then he is like toxic to another player. So then now it's two toxic players going back and forth. And then maybe there's a third guy that's like, hey, stop that. And then somebody shoots that in the all chat, and then now the other team, whoever responds to that's infected. And then maybe the person that's on the team that is talking in all chat, their teammate is like, stop talking in all chat, and then that's infectious. So then everybody's getting infected. And so you could see how this going from game to game to game with people not caring and stuff like that is ruining the system of rank. And then on top of that, you have high-low players, you have streamers that are saying, getting challenger doesn't matter, like getting high rank doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. And that's even hardcore ruining the integrity of the game. The players that are kind of the figureheads of League of Legends, they don't really understand how much they're ruining the ranked for themselves. The more you preach bad stuff, the worse everybody else that's following you is going to get, right? If I'm coaching and I'm saying, this game sucks, I just can't stand it. People always like do this. Eventually, people are going to start thinking like, well, hey, if the coach is saying it, and I'm not even really a figurehead. If we're talking about things like Tyler One, things like TF Blade, things like Tarzan, things like, that's all I can think of right now. And even in Korea, like even those people, when we translate the stuff and we see it, if they're talking about Laura Elo, if they're talking about rank system being bad, Well, everyone else is watching that's just going to assume and agree. It's just like the news. If the news says something, everybody's like, oh crap. And everybody's following the news and everybody follows that. And so not only is ranked infected by people who just don't care, the people that are like, hey, I want to play what I want. It's my first time. Or, hey, I don't have my role, so I'm just going to pick this because I always wanted to try it. Or just picking a role they don't play in general. AFK, raging, whatever. Those are the people that just don't care about climbing. And as we are back to that infectious thing, the more infected that the rank system becomes, the harder it is for people to care about getting coaching and stuff like that. As I said before in another video, even offering free coaching to people, some people just don't want it. And it's like, well, why are you playing ranked if you don't really want to get better? It's free. I haven't offered free coaching in a while, but I just know, like when I did before, before, everybody was like, yeah, I want, free can I have free coaching? Yeah, they would ask me questions, everything, and then eventually just got to the point where nobody really asked questions about getting better, nobody really asked about anything, and it's just like, okay, why do we climb in ranked if nobody really cares? So, as I said, it's not like League is bad. It's not like Riot doesn't care about their rank system. It's more or less the fact that the community kind of drives it down. And that's why I wanted to talk about that behavioral system, because I wanted to say, like, hey, it is going to get better in Season 12, or at least it looks like it's going to be. And I wanted to talk about the signs of that. So that's what I meant by new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Not only am I starting to coach a new game, but we all know that the rank system for League of Legends, it's not really the system, it's the community, is making it a painful ending. But that means the beginning could be coming in Season 12, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So next podcast, I'll talk more about the behavioral system with that. But as I said, I am coaching both. Make sure you go to CoachBooker.com if you are interested in any coaching, VOD reviews, or anything like that. But yeah, thank you guys for, of course, listening to another Coach Booker podcast, and I hope to see you guys next time.